it moved along really nice. The narration, I guess, was of its time. It was a little bit dry.
The narration was foisted upon the movie by the studio.
Oh, was it?
One of a
Oh,
number of things that were foisted upon the movie.
it
That
didn't
makes
really, it
sense
didn't
because
That
really
does
it's
make
need
sense
it.
because it's
bullshit.
pointless.
And
Yeah.
Kubrick hated it so much that he intentionally makes the narrator say things that aren't true.
I hate it more than the Blade Runner narration.
I've
It's
literally
dumber than the
never
Blade Runner narration. It adds nothing at all.
I have literally never
And it,
seen or read or heard anything that has a third party narrator who is also unreliable. Like you get
It is
unreliable,
unusual. It is
you get
unusual.
unreliable narrators when they're first person narrators, your Sunset Boulevards or whatever.
yeah.
But like this is
No,
an
he's dead. He's
unreliable.
not unreliable.
He's also unreliable.
How more unreliable can you get?
This is a
Yeah.
third party narrator who is
Spoilers.
unreliable, and it's like, what the fuck is going on?
He's reading narration for different
449,
movies.
Johnny made a sandwich.
Exactly.
He used pastrami.
Right, the
That's
times are
not it,
wrong.
actually.
Like there's literally the times that the narrator says are incorrect because he just said they were somewhere else, and
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah, who gives a shit anyway? What time it is?
Also, we did one thing about early.
well, the time is very important. This movie is
Actually,
entirely built around
Once you
the
get
timer.
once you get the third act, it's like
Yeah, well,
second
yeah,
or
right.
second, yeah.
Yeah, it revolves around that, sure, but I mean, okay.
But that's why it's funny that the times are wrong. Like that,
Yeah, right.
this is Kubrick being like, "Fuck you!
Right.
You said I have to put a narrator in it, so I'm going to make the narrator wrong." Like,
And the narrator sounds
But you know,
cheesy.
I know. Well, back up a little bit. He did a narration Full Metal Jacket, and that was almost. It wasn't
but that's
exactly
first
soaring
person.
either. It was first person, but it wasn't exactly soaring either. It sounded a little like he was on drugs, but we're talking about a different movie.
But this is a lot better than what's the one before this?
I believe that it goes this, then Killer's Kiss.
And the one before that, Fear and Desire, I think it's called.
Yeah, but that wasn't, I don't believe
Fear
that
and Desire never really got a.
he
No,
made
they
two movies.
just made a version of it.
He made
Which
two
is funny because
movies.
Paul Mazursky is in it.
He made two movies
Oh,
before
I like him.
this, and none
Yeah.
of them had. There were no professional actors. They didn't have a real cinematographer. Like this is his first real movie.
Real, yeah.
Raise money and
Studio movie.
Because
cinematography.
Harris actually went out and got some money.
Yeah.
Yes,
I take
because
back what I said about-
they formed a company together, and
Yeah,
I take
and
back
worked
what I said
together
about
until he
him.
died, basically.
Very much, yeah.
As far as seeing, the Kubrick that we were going to come to know, I think you could see it in the sort of ruthless control.
Yeah.
and the
he
the-
killed
the-
a horse.
he killed a horse.
a four-legged horse.
Yeah, and
Okay.
and that sort of nihilistic ending for sure. That
So this was a little bit like his early.
He was
60s
supposed
stuff.
to. He was supposed to get chopped up by the propeller blades, and
Oh,
American
that'd be
Airlines.
fun.
American Airlines didn't want it advertised that they had that bad safety standards, so that's why he gets shot.
the ending's a lot of fun. This
Yeah, the
movie's
ending-
fun to watch. I mean, it is such a noir vibe. You know what I mean? It's like it is pulp, and there's no doubt about it. You see, what's his name's name on the credits when it starts.
I'd say you see the reimposition of the Hays Code at the end. It
Oh,
wasn't with anything.
Elisha
yes.
Cook Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, I meant the writer, Jim Thompson. Jim
Oh,
Thompson
Jim Thompson did the dialogue.
wrote the dialogue. Yeah, and it's like you can tell.
Yeah, but that's a Treasure Sierra Madre ending. It all blows away. At the end.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
is the Tor Johnson look-alike? Is he a
Oh, that wrestler guy.
He
Wait.
is actually a wrestler.
Of course, he a wrestler. Yeah,
A wrestler.
A hairy old grappler from the 50s. That's the best.
I wanted to put the
understand why he
subtitles
has-
on for that guy.
I don't understand why he has a French name and a Russian accent. And can we talk about the accents in this movie?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
fucking
All over
the
place.
sniper guy. I don't know what the fuck accent he was trying to do in this movie.
No,
but
he
it's
was-
like
he-
you poured 7 accents into a blender
Mhm.
and just drank the results.
Gets to
Yeah.
it has to be the earliest use of the N-word in a
Oh boy,
Right?
that's
Speaking.
that-
Yeah.
that's a completely unnecessary thing that happens in
Yes,
this.
exactly.
Like,
No, he really needed that parking lot attendant to go away really fast.
except you
And he
didn't
got
need
him
to make
go
that
away.
scene where that happens.
That guy was so
Like,
nice
yeah.
too.
But he
Yeah,
was
there's
so
two
nice.
Scott. There's two nice people in this movie: the parking lot attendant and the sick cop, the cop's sick wife, who's
Yeah.
And they both get horribly punished.
I know. It's like that's the thing. It's so noir. It's not even funny, man. It's like the thing is like you can see Kubrick starting out saying, what kind of film you want to make? I want to make a film noir because right now the French just discovered it and everyone's gaga about it and they're cheap.
Oh no, I'm sorry. You have broached the subject. I'm going to bring this up.
Go ahead.
We watched Le Cercle Rouge. It was my pick. Le Cercle Rouge is the much better version of this movie.
I thought of that movie the whole time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're very similar. They're very similar.
Because I thought, oh, this is sort of a blueprint for American heist cinema, right?
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't have Heat and all these movies that
what
we
year
love.
was Le Cercle Rouge?
It's in the 60s, isn't it?
Yeah, it was late 60s. So this not the cart lead the horse here. This is 1956.
Oh, so 56, yeah.
Okay,
but I still thought of Le Cercle Rouge a lot.
This is still Le Cercle Rouge doing this correctly.
Le Cercle Rouge,
I thought Le Cercle Rouge did it way better.
Well, the thing is, like I said,
definitely it's later.
You can improve on the formula, especially that it's an anti-killing because that whole stretch with no dialogue whatsoever.
Right, there's so much talking in this movie.
Yeah, there is a lot of gabbing.
So much talking in this movie.
Well, he got to do sync sound.
I don't have a lot to say about this, but I liked it. It's fine. I don't think I saw a lot of the Kubrick that we see later, but a little bit maybe. But I do. One thing came up to me often was the mask that's behind Tad right now is absolutely the inspiration for the Dark Knight masks at the beginning.
This movie inspired so many things.
Chris Nolan
inspired Reservoir Dogs.
Yep.
It inspired Pulp Fiction. It inspired the beginning of the Dark Knight. This is a super,
and I love that mask.
The ending is very much like the ending of Reservoir Dogs. Everybody's on the ground full of bullets.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or the end of Bullet.
That was cool when he came out just blasting.
Yeah.
I was kind of I had to take back
Kubrick. Cook's wife gets shot.
Well, he's mortally wounded, but he's well enough to drive back to his house and kill his wife. And then drop dead.
She deserved it.
He has like 4 fucking.
He's got a hole in his face.
Yeah,
several. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
The guy shot him with the shotgun.
Yeah, he was in not good shape at the end of this film.
It's like Evil Dead right here.
Yeah. This was where the lighting took off. It was like we got the bird cage, the light coming through there and hit him all bloody. They're trying to tone it down, but it actually made it worse. You know.
I do. Yeah, I do think because what year was this? 56.
Yeah.
It seems obviously. Maybe Captain Obvious, but it's a lot more violent, obviously than pictures at that time.
It is. It actually is. It's pushing the edges of what they could do back then.
Right. It's on the edge. It's with the.
They wouldn't show blood like that in that time period. You would see a dead body go down. It was like the guy who shot the horse. He just rolls out of the car. There's no blood.
Yeah.
That's how they did killings. So the end of that in that house where everyone's bloody, they didn't do that. Like that was pushing.
Yeah.
Stuff. That's true. And the camera kind of lingered over the bodies too. It
kind of tracked.
Just sort of like goes over all of them, and it's just like this.
And there's
guy's
blood,
dead,
which you never would see that before.
This guy's dead.
True. That's true.
But it's
very cool.
Kubrick, I always say he never shot in Hollywood. This was mostly shot in L.A.
This is the last thing he shot entirely in America.
Yeah,
but it was shot at Bay Meadows.
Bay Meadows, well, this stuff at the racetrack, probably because they can get it cheap.
Yeah, they second united that too.
Because his uncle moved to Los Angeles. The one who actually put up the money for the first flick. He was a dentist.
Was James Harris? No, it's Dr.
Dentists. Where would the movies be without dentists?
I know. God bless dentists. Remember you said,
we wouldn't have Troll 2 if that guy wasn't.
Yeah, that's right.
I used to see that in the 80s. Like this movie is like.
Thank you for proving my point, Ted.
Silver Screen Partners 16.
But that's a dentist in front of the camera rather than behind.
Silver Screen Partners is like 25 dentists putting their money together.
Which is very weird.
Steve Martin. It's a great movie. Audrey too.
Yeah.
I guess the argument is that they use dentists to finance film because they're gullible. Although this film lost money. I know that. They put a little money into it.
It lost basically all the money that Kubrick and Harris put into it.
Right.
Like they got $200,000. They put $130,000.
Well, I saw it all blow away on the tarmac.
Well, that was
right. They used because Kubrick wanted to use real money.
Authenticity here.
Those were
That was a cool shot though.
Those were pesos. Those were
how did they get it?
pesos.
How'd they get it to stay in one place for so long? That was rad.
Yeah. And retakes. I don't want to think about
pile
retakes.
of money.
Yeah.
The way it just sort of peeled off. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. It stayed kind of. It was really nice.
Here's the thing.
I did like the chess club that they go to where they pick up the.
I love that chess club. 15 cents a game.
Because Kubrick used to hustle chess games in New York.
Oh, Harris and Kubrick met playing chess together at literally the chessboards a block away from where I grew up.
Wow.
Like literally, like you would walk by those chessboards and it's like Kubrick and Harris met here playing each other in chess. Like that's the thing is like that club is based on a real club in Manhattan. There was a chess and checkers club, and they remade it for the movie because they couldn't shoot it in New York because they couldn't find a fucking racetrack in New York or New Jersey or Pennsylvania that would allow them this much access to shoot.
Yeah.
So that's why they moved it to California.
It's an interesting place for him to pick up basically the muscle for this job, because all that guy has to do is start a fight in the bar. But the fact that he's hanging out at this chess club, it's like, no, he's a big guy, but he's not a dumb guy.
Yeah, he's a smart guy.
Because, as he says, you're the kind of person who's going to keep your fucking mouth shut.
Right.
Like, both of the guys, and even the cop, really, like, it's like, you're going to keep your mouth shut, and you know what's good for you.
Part of the reason I'm paying you this much money is to not ask questions.
Not ask questions.
Yeah, right. And not know the whole plan.
And both of them are like, well...
Okay,
$2,500 or $5,000 is a lot of fucking money at this point in time.
Yeah, right. In 1956, you can buy a house for $5,000.
Speaking of the sniper guy, it's like, how did they get John Turturro in 1956? That's what I was.
John Turturro would have done a better accent.
The same actor shows up in Paths of Glory, his next film.
He's in Paths of Glory.
Yeah, he will break your heart in that film. It's
Jim Carrey, right?
Yeah, exactly. He's good. He's just was a little bit, a little wobbly in this one.
I love what's his name, the husband guy,
Elijah Cook Jr.
Elijah Cook.
He's so good.
He's always great.
He's the only Star Trek veteran who's actually in this movie.
That's right.
His voice is at a much lower register than I think I've ever heard him in anything else.
He's an alumni here from that. I wasn't here, but that.
He's probably a lot
Marilyn
like
Monroe movie I chose.
That's right. He was in. Yeah.
He was the elevator
he was like
operator.
40.
He's really good in that too. He's really good in that as her uncle.
Yeah. He's great in everything.
Any of you guys going to mention the music?
No, that was just.
I don't remember the music.
Yeah, I didn't remember.
Did you not notice the fucking omnipresent, never stopped shrieking like enough already music?
I don't know. It seemed like
tuned it out.
Par for the course.
I was too busy.
Some piano stuff when Tim Carrey is shooting the horse, I thought.
I was too busy like not caring about the dialogue. Like I was just sort of like I tuned out several points in this movie. I was just like, oh yeah, all right.
Now, I felt you talked the end was changed a bit. He lost all his money on that big suitcase, right?
Right.
I mean, the thing is, at that point, the film was over, and I looked over to Eileen and said, "Well, that's just bad planning. I mean, you don't carry. Everyone should know you don't carry a full size suitcase in the carry on. Everyone, even in 1956.
Holy fuck! That whole argument that they have, and it's just like,
let me talk to the manager.
Right, please.
The manager comes over and says, "We'll give you your money back."
And it's also a good reason, like if you're gonna break it out into 2 or 3 different bags, just in case.
Get back in your Studebaker and drive away.
That's what I would do.
Drive away.
I would have driven to Boston. Actually,
he just decides, oh fuck it, I'll just take a chance and check a bag with a suitcase with $2 million of stolen money.
With John's dog $18 million in today's money in it.
That was insane.
That little dog.
Chris, he broke up.
John's Louis kicks it open.
That's right.
No, that was not
we knew that was going to happen because we had to see the whole transaction with the fucking lady first.
By the way, how appalling was that character? How appalling was that woman, that character of that woman with the poodle?
But that's why he showed her, so that then we could go, oh, that
it was
fucking
like
dog.
A character from the Flintstones or something. It was like, what is she doing in this movie?
Yeah,
absolutely. He was sort of dressed like a character in the Flintstones.
She was.
It just, I'm sorry, this movie is mediocre. Like, it's not
disagree, Tad.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Killer's kiss.
It's like I dig the
there's
look.
Some cool stuff going on.
I dig the noir vibe, but it's kind of junky. It's kind of a cheap pulp
so
movie.
Much of that one set that they built for the interior of I guess it's the bar area to the windows where you get your tickets at the track.
Yeah,
right. They probably
yeah, that is a cool area. Yeah.
Well, we see a lot of it, and
the set's cool.
So I'm watching this thing going, all right, I'm looking for the nuggets that like what I noticed like I could see, like obviously he didn't have as much money as he probably wanted to make this movie.
Yeah.
Having Jim Thompson come in to do the dialogue, but he's writing the story. The music I found incredibly distracting.
They wanted to make a different movie, and it was about kidnapping a child, and the Hays Code wouldn't allow that. So they traded this back to the author for this movie.
There's a lot of B-roll
and they show blood
of those horse races, obviously, to fill in gaps.
Then awful projection of the horse races.
Terrible.
But what I did notice was, okay, what he cared about are things like there's lighting in this movie that sort of transcends, like this is a pulpy noir-y thing that I think
this looks so good. This scene looks so good.
When he's walking around under those like single lights, it looks really nice.
The lighting in this movie transcends the genre of the time that it came out. There's a number of shots which are low tracking shots where he's following a person, where there's a lot of other people going in the other direction, but you are following the person you're supposed to be following, that I believe was highly evolved for its time.
Also, Kubrick and the cinematographer got into fights constantly to the point that the cinematographer stopped showing up to dailies.
I completely agree.
Also, you can see his attention to detail even here, though, and that it reminded me of remember the middle section of the James Cagney film we saw with the police, how methodical that was.
I thought about that a lot.
The same.
Better this looks than that.
And the same thing's going on here though, with Kubrick obviously being interested in let's watch every single part so that you can stuff other filmmakers would skip over. He didn't want to skip over that.
To a fault, I think, because
it can be to a fault.
Seeing how the guns got put in lockers and taken out of lockers and opening doors with keys and stuff, it got a little bit like.
Well, it's a fine line. It's a fine line.
But
the end of this scene where he sends them all into the other room and he's like, I'm gonna shoot through that door in 15 seconds, like that shit. But then he just like takes the hat and the mask and the jacket and the shirt and all of that and the gun, he shoves it all in the bag and just hucks the bag out the window and he walks out looking like a guy who works there. Puts the glasses on. Like, that's great.
That was good.
There's so many there are many little moments in this movie that are really great. Unfortunately, I think they are in service to a pretty dull.
It's kind of clunky.
This is a master chef's first cake.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not going to taste very good, but it's got amazing stuff in it, and you can tell a potential right there.
Or it's going to taste great and look terrible.
Yeah, let me all fucked up, and it's misspelled your name on top, and
right.
It's like,
so I want to ask something about the fractured timeline thing he was doing, because we get to see those horses go into the gate for the 7th race 3 times.
We get to hear it happen about 12 times,
and it gets announced over the thing. And I get he wanted to show everything that was happening, but I really don't think it was necessary to jump back and forth in time. You could have just done that in a linear fashion, and it probably would have been more suspenseful to see all the pieces fall into place in real time rather than.
So that was another thing about this. Is they tried to force him to re-edit it into a linear story, and it was more confusing when they re-edited it into a linear fashion.
Really?
So that's when they made him put the narration in, and I don't think the non-linear storytelling it gives anything positive to the movie. It's like you could have done a better.
It's a stylistic choice.
It's the thing.
It absolutely is a stylistic choice. But like, you think about the movies that this influences. You think about like Reservoir Dogs and the part where you pull back into Mr. Orange's story about being an undercover cop, and like you have to learn this story and stuff like that. That's so interesting.
Yes,
I never feel like this movie earns that. I never feel
I'm trying to watch The Last Boys.
Right, exactly.
Well, it's a gimmick. After the second time, it's a gimmick. And the third time around, it's like you're seeing it again. Here we go.
But it's a gimmick that doesn't really add up.
Yeah,
and it starts with him going up to the bar, and then it jumps back to the beginning, and it's like, why not just play it from there? Why?
But even doing this back then was creative as fuck.
Was probably, sure, absolutely. Yeah, it was probably pretty innovative.
Yeah, it kind of looks old fashioned now, but yeah.
I mean, Godard did it, but after this, right?
But I'm just saying, a linear, like a movie, like any caper movie that does play it linear, like an Ocean's 11 kind of movie, is so much more suspenseful because there's sort of this tick tock moving along, whereas this was like, oh, now 40 minutes earlier this happened. You're like, oh, okay.
It sets a timer, and then you see the timer bouncing back and forth.
Exactly.
Yeah. I can't tell if that was part of the style of the time, or is this Kubrick trying to be a little bit too clever? Or
I think he's being too clever.
I think it's the latter. I think he is focused on all the wrong shit making this movie, and again, like the lighting, wow, like camera things, highly evolved for the time. He's lost he can't see the forest for the trees. He's like way over here noodling on this little thing and missing and that's where, like I said, it's this is
a problem I've seen in most of Kubrick's stuff is he ignores the actors a lot for like some sort of intricate clockwork thing that's going on.
Right. He has to build.
That's why he hires good actors and just let them go.
Okay, so he does this.
He has to build a strong beast every time he's making a movie.
Yeah.
He goes straight from this to Killer's Kiss. I think Killer's Kiss is like right after this. Spartacus, because I guess everybody in Hollywood, Kirk
Douglas Paths of Glory.
They saw this like
based on this. Kirk Douglas saw this film and got him the job.
Sought him out.
Paths of Glory. I see.
So that's how unique it was.
I see 70s and 80s Kubrick in Paths of Glory way more than this movie.
Well, you also see Kirk Douglas, who knows how to tell a story.
Well, and even Spartacus.
But that's same with Spartacus, too. It's like those guys are wrestling.
Spartacus was written by John Trumbo, too.
The jump from this to the next couple of movies, for me, was profoundly big.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's not the one
cutting his teeth there.
We talked about a tour to the tools they have going in when they start their career. Like some are like
he's young here, right? I mean,
like Wes Anderson has always done the same movies over and over.
Well, no, I would argue that Bottle Rock is pretty different from Tenenbaums.
Okay, you could argue that
big jump from Bottle Rock to Tenenbaums.
But Bottle Rocket is influenced by James.
Or jump, in my opinion,
produced it.
But there's some who actually evolve. Like we talked about earlier. Kubrick actually putting the pieces together. There are plenty of filmmakers who do that.
Guys, it was funny. There was something occurred to me a minute ago when everybody was talking about how these movies are overly complicated. He's ignoring the actors and focusing on the wrong things, and I thought, well, for once, I think everybody's saying Christopher Nolan is like Kubrick. I'm starting to go, oh, he kind of is, isn't he?
Yeah,
of course he is.
But like not as good, yeah.
And I was always like, but not as good because he makes these flawed movies. But watching
in some situations, I think better though. Like he made a better heist movie than this.
I think Nolan makes kind of like he doesn't as adventurous as Kubrick. Doing different.
But Kubrick really jumps genres. Yeah, kind of in a way not a lot of good filmmakers can do.
Right,
it's pretty impressive.
No, as much as I love Michael Mann, he's probably my favorite director. Like Michael Mann couldn't make a movie like Barry Lyndon.
Right.
Like he absolutely could not.
Well, he tried Last of the Mohicans, but it's not even close.
Love Mohicans.
No, it's and that's
Michael Mann has a lane.
I like Last of the Mohicans too. I'm not saying I don't like that movie, but I'm saying it's not Barry Lyndon.
I don't. That's the one. That's the one Michael Mann movie I don't.
Okay, I think we're going straight to the card.
I found for me trying to see Kubrick as we all know and love him here is a little bit. Like tiny. Less than I would have expected.
Less than I would expect.
It's the level of quality that you have in scenes like this. Like the level of quality of like good filmmaking, of making a visually interesting frame.
And for the
pause at any moment and be like, okay, this is interesting. This is interesting.
And for the time,
it doesn't quite add up to as much as you'd like.
This is his hideous first cake, man.
Less than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
But
I wanted to bring up the tracking shot.
Also not a failure.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up that tracking shot that's just moving along with Sterling Hayden as he walks through the apartment.
Yeah,
and
that's a good one.
Through room after room after room. He's doing his first big monologue about the plot of how they're going to pull off the caper. Mm-hmm. It's really nice.
Well, also, Hayden, when he comes out of the door and the security guard confronts him, and the other guy bumps into the security guard and he just punches him out and keeps walking. Like that's a great, like there's so many people moving back and forth in that.
A lot of extras.
Yeah.
They're definitely going to cards now. Thumbs, come on.
Oh, thumbs up for sure.
I like watching this movie
for all the creative
great,
stuff. Yeah, the
it's
blood.
fun to watch.
They didn't make movies like this at that time.
No, it didn't.
It certainly does.
Who's seen Killer's Kiss?